Welcome to our webinar about ISOs. I'm having a great day and I hope you are too. I'm Anthony Blackwell and I'm joined by a group of my colleagues and we're going to be discussing ISOs today. We are from IMSM. IMSM stands for International Management Systems Marketing. And at IMSM, we do ISO consulting. And the thing about ISO consulting, we do quality management systems. We help companies implement best practices. Today, we're going to be talking about ISO quality management systems and how we do what we do. We are an international company, but we are a local company. So there's always like somewhere near you, there's always an office near you, there's always a person that you can reach out to in your neighborhood. We work with companies of every size and every industry. Recently, I worked with a logistics company in Edison, New Jersey, with headquarters in Edison, New Jersey, and City Industry, California. They had offices from one coast to the other coast. And at the same time, another company that I worked with was in Valley Stream, Long Island. It was a two-person logistics company, two people, they were running out of there. So it's like, no matter what size or where you're at, we have an office and we can help you. We are currently implementing ISO 27001 with a law firm just near my house. It's like 100 lawyers, 60 support staff, and we're implementing ISO 27001. And the thing about ISO 27001 is that always 93% of the security failures come from human error. So it's like ISO 27001 looks at the totality, it looks at your organization in a holistic manner. So we're just going to be sitting around and we're going to be chatting about this and we're going to be talking and everybody's going to be adding some input to ISOs. Amy?
Yes, you brought up a couple of different standards, but the study that IMSM just released from our internal market data has shown that 25% of the interest expressed in ISO standards is actually on the 17025, which is the laboratory standard. And I just found that fascinating, especially you people in California might have to chime in and discuss why is the 17025 so big now? So much interest.
Well, I would say one of the things about 17025 in my past experience is I worked with a company that does out in New Jersey, and Rick Caswell did was the assessor there. And what happened with that company is they do anti-aging stuff. And with anti-aging, everything has to be so calibrated and regulated, and everybody wants to make sure. Now, other companies that I've talked to about 17025 are just like companies that make perfumes and stuff. The American Eagle, Macy's, they 17025, and you would never suspect that.
You don't think that it's the cannabis market that's really driving this to 25% of the interest? Don't you think it's the marijuana?
I don't know, Jay, you know something
it's a
about
big
that.
part of it, if I can chime in. I'm out in Los Angeles, and it is a large part of it, although not all of it. Like Anthony was saying recently, a lot of the companies that I've talked to about 17025, especially if they contact us, I kind of assume it's cannabis, and then when it's not, I'm pleasantly surprised. But logistics companies, there is someone I'm working with that does calibrates the scales for weighing trucks on the freeway at those truck stops. So anything like that, a lab calibration standard will help that company get an edge on the competition.
Yeah, just to highlight, the 17025 is the laboratory standard. It ensures labs are technically competent to operate. When it comes to marijuana, it's all about potency and contamination.
It's mandated in the state of California that any cannabis lab has to have 17025.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
Nice for us. Yeah.
We're not there yet in Georgia.
This is the reason that the percentage of 17025 in the US is so high. Although we can say that it has increased all over the world, up to 10%. The US is the biggest consumer of that standard. So this is the explanation, in my opinion. Completely agree with you.
I like that slide. It shows that any of all the people that have expressed interest in ISO standards in the United States for IMSM, have approached IMSM, they're reaching out to us to find out information on the 17025. Almost 25% of the time, 24% of the time, they're asking about the 17025, where in previous years it's been so driven by 9001.
Right.
Indeed, Amy, and here we have at the beginning, I'll show it straight away. Up until 2019, we don't have the latest data for last year from the ISO organization. So you can see that actually implementation and certifications were 66% on 9001 in all 170 countries. And things are actually changing. We have detected all those changes. Information security is up, lottery is up, business continuity is up. So this is a very, very interesting statistic we have here.
Yeah, there's other motivating factors that are happening as well as regulated industries, and one of the things happening that we're beginning to see as well is especially around the 17025 is Amazon is now requiring any cosmetic organization that sells cosmetics online through their system, or any supplement organization must show that they have had their certificate of authenticity through a 17025 accredited organization. So new rules have just become introduced. We've just discovered this through customers who are approaching us. So what's interesting is the market is becoming, particularly in the US, what I'm seeing in a general sense is we're seeing that there is an outside influence that's coming in. There's a only way to distinguish between millions of different sellers in the different platforms is to have a standard in place that you can get measured against, that's worldwide accepted, since these distribution companies are all over the world. And so they have to have something you can measure against. So what we're starting to see is the adoption of ISO to help facilitate the growth of business, which has been a more worldwide acceptance until recently. And we're starting to see a lot of the US companies begin to realize where it can fit together and plug in. In addition to that, we see the regulatory agencies like the FDA, the FCC, the DOD, and a number of other institutions that help keep our products safe and reliable, are also quoting ISO standards or using them as foundational elements in their regulatory activities. So it's good when you see a standard like that to become more integrated into the actual operation. Even though in the US it'll remain volunteer to do this, to actually implement a standard, there are a lot of values and benefits that come out of these things. But I think I just wanted to highlight the opportunity in the situation related to the fact that these standards are being now gated for distribution in the biggest platforms in the world for distribution.
If I could add something too as well, and I concur with everything that Tracy's saying regarding Amazon, because I do a lot with 22716, and many times I'm discussing 17025 as well and 9001. So it's kind of, discussing all of that. But I heard yesterday, anybody who provides product for Costco, they want 17025 to be in there. And I know that is for skin, hair, nail, body, anything. So I don't know beyond that, but I heard that yesterday for any supplier to Costco, for those products that I just mentioned, they have to have 17025.
it makes perfect sense. You know, there's so many small companies out there that are not providing safe products, you know, and this standard makes sure that following 17025 that you've got the safety, you've got efficiency, you got accuracy, all those things that are important to consumers, but through the retail channel, you know, with all the litigation and things, it protects companies from being sued because they're selling dangerous products.
And I think that the most important thing about that, when you say like these places like Amazon or Costco, that they're requiring people to have ISO certification, is that whenever a company has the ISO certification, one of the things that I always end up talking with people about is that everything is written down. You know, no matter if it's a one-person shop or a two-person shop, that their quality and their procedures are written down. And when there's changes, you can see the changes. And that's what people like to see whenever they're looking at risk analysis and they're looking at different things. They like to be able to see that where are the controls, so they can easily see it, because everybody's adapting. And if you come in and you're saying, this is what I'm selling, but this is what I'm delivering, then anybody has access to that. They can see what your plan is. They can see how you go from the beginning to the end of your protocols. And you can see where you get your products from, what's happening, how you regulate your suppliers, and what's going on. And that's like one of the most important things, like when you're doing with 17025 or 9001, is that everybody wants to know that there's a game plan in place and that they can see it.
Yeah, actually, you say what you do and you do what you say. That's the
Exactly.
principle.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And 17025 builds on the 9001,
Right.
which, you know, all the manufacturers are familiar with 9001. Building upon it with 17025 makes sense.
Exactly.
And can I add a little bit in here? We've talked a lot about the standard being mandated from the giants like Amazon and Costco. What I've found over the last couple of years, talking to, you know, the most forward-looking entrepreneurs out there, you know, back in the days when we could go to trade shows, is that the really smart ones, the really successful ones, do it before it's mandated.
Exactly.
They see it coming. A lot of times, you know, with say the aerospace initiative, I hear people say, well, you know, Boeing has it, so they make their suppliers have it, but I don't have to have it as long as I follow along. And they're the ones that say their business isn't doing great, versus saying, well, it's coming, or if it's good enough for Boeing, it's good enough for me. So let's talk. Let's go implement the standard in my little machine shop.
Maria, can you show us the slide for the that shows the AS9100? It might be slide number 7. That how is the interest growing? What's the data show for AS9100?
Yes, let's start from the beginning if you like, and you'll let me know, Amy, which one you would like to see exactly. So we said we have data survey on the ISO, our information Q2, Q3, and Q4 last year. Here we go. And now we're going with the US. Is that the one you're asking for?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'd use that as an example, but I'm seeing a spike in AS9100 out here, but this is kind of aerospace central.
It is. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we're seeing that in Florida as well. You know, so you're going to have pockets around the country where industries have a tendency to, accumulate and do things. We see that with the cosmetic standard for 22716 that Pamela is talking about. We see a lot of that around the coastal lines there, and also in Florida, we're seeing it there as well. So there are pockets where those take off, and the interesting thing I think is once someone in the industry begins to invest in an ISO process, and they get the word out, and people see what it does for them, that it begins to develop some additional interest in addition to the regulatory and required elements of any industry, you have the opportunity to really become more invested in the business. So these give you a great deal of opportunity to look and create a holistic view of your business, and create some efficiencies and really drive the types of things that will eliminate costs that are in your business, and mitigate risks and help eliminate those type of issues that help in profitability, which is everybody's trying to do more and more of that every day. I don't know too many businesses that are in the nonprofit aspect of our world, so they want to do whatever they can to reduce cost.
If I may, I just brought up the first slide of the presentation just to show one more time that barely 2 years ago, it seems no one was interested in 17 or 25.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not even on the list of significant standards redacted by the ISO. And now we have so many companies asking for our help to implement and certify the standard. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 14,001 continues to be high in interest. We had a significant number of implementations in 2019, second only to 9,001, but the interest in 14,001, the environmental standard, continues to be very strong. I'm curious, guys, where do you think that's coming from?
Well, I think one of the things about the 14,001 is that when I've talked to people, it's a couple of different things are driving it, and certainly like with factories and different things. But one of the surprises was in offices. I've seen people in offices with an office with 20 people that wanted to or thinking about implementing 14,001. So that was like kind of a surprise for me, that when they were like, oh yes, come on over, check this out. And you get there and it's an office and it has 20 people and they want to implement 14,001. And a lot of that is just driven by the consumers and by the people and where we are at, like as the world, and everybody looks at like climate change or different things or everything in a holistic manner. And especially now with COVID and that, you want to be like, what is happening with your environment there. But definitely when I talk to people and it's like, oh, we have 20 people in the office and we're interested in like 14,001. That's like a really big thing.
I also think that question of image. So companies like to be perceived as environmental friendly.
Yes.
And this is a way for all of them to demonstrate it. Guys, have a look on how many 14,001 we have in legal, 15% in finance, 34% in finance, where we would think that maybe ISO 27001 would be much more interesting than 14,001, and this is not the case.
If I could add something, I know I just talked to Jay yesterday, and obviously Tracy knows, but I brought on a large account that is going with us using IMSM for 45,001, 30 worldwide locations in this calendar year, 2021. But the point being,
standard, right?
Pardon me?
That's the health and safety standard, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, but they previously did 14,001, all 30 locations with a different company, one of our competitors. So I found that of interest because now, we could actually go after companies, I believe, for both at the same time. This is just something new to me because, this is my first 45,001 and it happens to be a huge one. But for the fact that they just got finished, they got their certification recently for 14,001, and now they're adding 45,001.
Do you think COVID? Do you think COVID is driving any of that, Pamela?
They did not give me that as a reason, and nor did I ask. I will, because I'm signing up the second location next week. But point being, I have found, because I came on late May, early June last year, so COVID was in full swing. And I mean, I started writing orders like my first day and week and stuff like that. And I really feel I came on at the right time because, I mean, for me, COVID has been the reason that I'm getting business from all types of businesses. So it's not just cosmetic, because this company that's doing 45,000 with me is manufacturing. So I believe COVID is the reason for our numbers, these numbers going up, especially with 17,025, 14,001. It has to be, because that's all I know. I don't know what business was like with IMSM prior to like June last year, but for me, it's been like phenomenal. I mean, in a good way, and then you've got the bad way that it's a pandemic.
Well, I guess then one thing that when you look at it, it's like with the pandemic and with a lot of companies downsizing or reformulating and doing different things, people have had an opportunity to take a look at what's going on in their company and what's going on in the environment around them. And it's kind of like Jay was saying, that whenever things are going this way or that, then you have to adapt to the environment that you're in, and you have to start making the changes and see what will work for you and what is it the people are requesting and demanding accountability for companies. So if you're looking at like 14,001 or other things, then it's like, yes, that this is like the natural test that when we're in COVID and we have all these things and people are locked down, it is a good opportunity to look at your business, because there's not a lot of things that you can do. I mean, things are opening up, and in some places they're completely open, but it is a good opportunity to take stock in the company and to see how you can continue or survive.
Absolutely. Risks arise from uncertainty. And the only thing that can help us against uncertainty are internationally recognized standards. So we're here to help with their implementation. Guys?
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Anthony, shall we wrap it up for today and invite everyone else to take part in the next session?
Sure.
Sure.
Unless you guys would like to discuss anything else.
No, great chat.
Yep. Looking forward to next quarter's data.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. It's around the corner. Couple 5-6 weeks and we'll get it.
The next quarter's data. Yeah, this is excellent. An excellent thing to do.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, guys. Please do not
Yeah,
forget
thank you.
we have a 45,001 specific webinar next week.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Any
Thanks.
suggestions, let me know.
All right.
We'll do.
Brilliant. So thank you all. Thanks, Anthony. Marketing, if you can take over from now.